You can call me a critic, but I think that they're doing great as far as the Dexter movie is concerned. The Dexter show is actually pretty cool in comparison to the Joker, because at least with this one, they're making a prequel of the show. You know, they're actually calling back to elements of the past in regards to Dexter. I remember watching Dexter when I was in my teens when I first started watching the show, and it was a crazy project, you know, because we basically get to see into the mind of a serial killer who is trying to take out the garbage of Miami, basically getting rid of evil motherfuckers that have been doing evil shit for their entire lives, you know, and to refuse to stop, you know. Spoiler alert ahead, because I might bring up different points and key elements in regards to the show that people might agree or disagree with, but hey, you know, I'm gonna say what I gotta say because it has to be said, you know. I think Dexter was awesome in regards to them bringing it back for the prequel because he's all right. So for one, the actor he acts just like Dexter. He looks like him. He acts like him, and he's portraying him as perfectly as I think anyone will be able to in regards to, you know, portraying a character's origin story. You know, like this is 20-year-old Dexter we're talking about. You know, hasn't had that much experience with killing yet. Hasn't had that many victims. So it's like we get to see how he became who he is now in regards to becoming the Bay Harbor Butcher. You know, the way he takes out his victims in comparison to the show, we see him use that needle, that syringe, and he jabs it into their, you know, into their chest and their back and stuff like that. When in the show, you see him always go for the throat. That's a good detail to character, you know, letting us know that he still has a lot to learn and doesn't have a lot of experience. I think he used like chloroform or something like that in the show, whereas in this he uses horse tranquilizer. So it's like, yeah, like I see the way everything started and how it's all coming to be. You know, Deborah is nowhere near any different than she is in the show than she is in this show. You know, in the old show than she is in this one, because Deborah, I guess, you know, she's younger. You know, she's the head of the volleyball team, or knows the head of the volleyball team. She's experiencing dating and drugs. So it's like her whole character arc is like pretty much the same as you would think it was when she was, you know, out and about as far as being a detective, you know, and catching criminals when she got older. It was like she basically became a spitting image of her father, you know, in a sense of becoming a cop and her love life, you know, how she deals with men, you know. It's like from one guy to another, not calling Deborah a whore or anything, but that's pretty much kind of like the tendencies, you know, like she loves the men that she deals with, I'm sure, but she goes from man to man, you know. Like if one nigga doesn't work out, she's going to find herself another one, sure as shit, fast as ever, in comparison to how other women, I guess, will be moving and shaking in the dating scene. You know, Deborah is, she's a firecracker, that's for sure. Like she doesn't give a damn, all rap, like. And I love her character because, you know, foul mouth, you know, short-tempered and all. Deborah has a good heart, you know. And all she ever wanted to do was, you know, find the killer. And she always wanted to make sure that everything was good with Dex. Even though I'm pretty sure Dex is older, you know, because as far as how he treats her, he's definitely the more responsible, level-headed sibling in the family. But it's nice to see like them go back to the origin story of Dexter in regards to him and his family. You know, we get to see the backstory of not just Dexter, but also the backstory of Deborah, as well as his father, you know, and how he taught him the code and how he's perfecting the code throughout his life, you know, trying to keep himself alive and surviving without having to be in jail, you know, still thriving out there in life, even though he is a serial killer. But he's a serial killer with a moral code, which is something that most serial killers don't have. It's just like, oh, I'm just gonna go out here and kill a motherfucker with no sense of, you know, understanding why or who I'm doing it to. It's just, okay, random body, hey, you know, you remind me of my mom, or some crazy shit, you know, like it's always a MO for why a serial killer kills, but for Dexter, it's always because you're a fucked up person and you gotta go. Even on down to his own brother, you know. So it's like, yeah, you know, to see him in his origin and see how he's going to become who he is pretty cool. He has a girlfriend now who blew him in the bathroom, which was a pretty cool scene to see. Like, yeah, the motherfucker's, he's living life. He's young, you know? He's not out there really, he's not really out there worried about a lot of stuff that a lot of motherfuckers is worried about, though. He ate weed brownies, too. That's another thing that I kind of enjoyed about that last episode. Him and Deborah got high off of weed brownies. Also highlighting their friendship and relationship as brother and sister, how close they are, you know? So I'm actually, I hope they catch that crazy bastard that's taking out those kids, though. You know, they got to get him because he's got another victim, and I don't want to see the same thing happen to that kid that happened to the other kid. You know, that got hung from the bridge. So let's hope that we end up catching him, or Dexter ends up finding his ass. He's sitting here dragging little kids' bodies into a steel room with no exit aside from, you know, no way out, just a way in, you know? So it's like they're trapped in that motherfucker, you know, until somebody can come save them or until the guy kills them. So it's like I hope that Dexter eventually, you know, the show will eventually lead to him finding that guy. Because that would be like the conclusion of the whole series, I feel like. Because since the season started, he's been killing people. You know, he's been taking bodies. So, yeah. I hope nothing for the best for this series. You know, and seeing how his relationship blossoms with his father and his sister. And how things go as far as the station that he's working for. As far as being a blood spatter analyst. As far as being that person that's dealing with blood spatter, I hope to see great things from him in the future, because, man, with these prequels, it can only go one or two ways usually, and sometimes that way is not always the best way. But you know how folks can be sometimes. You know, like you can't make them do anything in regards to the production team. You can just pray and hope that everything goes right as far as the series, because usually with these prequels, it's from what I noticed, as well as the sequels, they're not always great, you know. But so far, I have high hopes for it, because they even brought back all the characters that happened to pass away or whatever, you know. So they're young now. Look exactly like spitting images of their characters, you know, their counterparts that they portray in the old show. They look pretty much exactly the same. LaGuardia looks like LaGuardia, Batista looks like Batista, you know, Masuka looks like Masuka. Everybody looks the same, you know. It's just that they're younger now. So it's like, hey, I'm all for it, you know. And I'm going to keep on keeping y'all posted in regards to the show. And if you haven't seen Dexter yet, I suggest you do, because you're missing out on a great show, you know. Don't watch it around your kids, though. I don't advise that.